Welcome back, everyone. I'm Jason and you're watching Jason Jensen Trains. Well, this week I got inspired to start a new kit bash. I know that we were working on this section and it's full, but the kit bash that we're going to do is going to sit back here. It's not real visible, but I'm going to detail it as if it's sitting right on the edge of the layout for everyone to see, because I want the entire layout to be completely detailed. It's a pretty quick project, so let's get to it. Okay, for our two kits, we're going to be using Reese Tool. And you can see that was the February kit from last year. And then Barker Steel. And that was the September kit from last year. Okay, I've already done a little bit on Reese Tool. I simply cut the tops off, the front and the back. We'll set those aside. Who knows? We may use those. So there's all four walls and they're all exactly the same height. Now for Barker Steel, I cut off the side. So it was like that. Or just cut that off. That's the front wall. And then I did the same on the back wall. I just cut that off. And again, we'll set these aside because I actually think we're going to be using these. I'm considering the front being like that, and then that piece that we cut off, lower it and put it right there. And then the side wall will look like that. This one's going to be a little different on this side. That'll get put there. And then I'll have to probably take another piece of clapboard siding and cut the side wall that goes up top. And then this is the back wall. And this is also the back wall. So this will end up going like this. All right, I'm going to start bracing these. So far, this is where we're at. I have these walls braced. So I took the back wall and used it for the side wall. So we'll cut a back wall later. But it's going to end up going like this. Now when we cut this off, and like I said, I'm just going to lower that. But it's, let's see, am I going to have that in the front? No, I'll probably have it back a little bit. Just a little bit. And since I'm moving it back, that door frame, when it was up here, the door frame would have covered the clapboard siding on both sides. Well, if I move it down and move it back, that frame gets pushed over because it's laser cut. So I just need to widen that. I need to cut probably a 1/16 off like this. All right, I'll go ahead and do that. On this bottom door, I'm going to widen it so that it matches the top one. Next, we're going to stain our walls, and we're using two new colors, Provincial. This will be the first color we put on, and then Marine Teak. This will be the second color we put on. I've been trying to, I need a smaller brush. I've been trying to use different colors. I kind of got in a rut of using murky brown all the time. So we're mixing it up for some variety. And you know, I just thought of this. I want to lift some of the clapboard before we stain it. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, now we'll stain. Almost forgot the corner trim. Okay, now we'll do marine teak. Wow, that is just a beautiful color. We could leave it just like this. So I've been mixing some colors, trying to come up with a color that I really liked. And I have decided on a greenish gray. And I'll show you first there was the three colors that I'm choosing from. So you can see I'm going for kind of a gray color. I like this one. This is what we're going to use. It's a greenish gray. And that is Hauser medium green and neutral gray. Okay, let's mix some paint. I know my palette's all dirty. Now I usually mix too much paint. It just happens every time. I'll need to figure out what windows and doors need to be painted while I've got this color mixed. See, I've already got a lot on there. And I need to add to it. Okay, so it is, I would say, 50-50. Maybe a little bit more gray than green, but it's pretty close to half and half. And we'll go heavier at the top, and then as we go down it'll get more and more chipped. And I think I may do the bottom section actually with the sponge. I actually want this building to look pretty old, so the paint's going to be really chipped. I'm going to quick grab a sponge and do some on the bottom. So I've gone and glued all of the window frames on. I don't know if you can tell. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and try to find all the places where I lifted the boards and lift them again, because the paint in the stain makes them kind of settle. So maybe we'll even make some new ones. After I get all these lifted again, we're going to dry brush over the walls. Okay, now we're going to dry brush the walls using light sand. And I have a really soft brush. So we're wiping most of the paint off. I've assembled the walls. And I'm glad I kept these that we cut off of that bottom structure, because I'm just going to move those up and add those to the top. I've put in some extra bracing because next we're going to put boards. This is going to be a deck. It's going to have a roof over the top of it, and it's probably going to be at an angle, I think, going down. Now the first board, I had to cut little notches out of each end. So that it fits in there because of the trim that runs up the sides. We'll glue that in, and then I'll start to glue in all the boards all the way to the edge. The planks are all glued in place. I really hope you can see the variety in the stain. And then I also took a number 2 pencil and put little dots to represent knot holes. I just love all the different colored stain. And those are, geez, I don't even know if I can. Shadow Gray, Ocean Depths, Marine Teak, Murky Brown. I cut a wall for the back out of white mat board and painted it a dark gray. Okay, our back wall is done. Now we'll install a beam across here. Then we'll put 3 posts and a beam across here. Then we'll run ceiling joists this direction, and then we'll put in our rafters and trusses. And then we'll probably put a railing around it. Fun fact, if you're going to install hardwood flooring in your house, I'm in my 3rd home and I've installed hardwood in each of them. You first want to figure out what direction your floor joists run, and then you want to put your hardwood floor the opposite direction. So another fun fact, if say on this model the floor joists run this direction, so that makes this wall and this wall a load bearing wall. So you would have to put in a header above the window and above the door. Now your 2 side walls are not load bearing, so you would not need to put in a header above the window and the door, only on load bearing walls. You know, if I was not an artist or a model builder, I would be building homes. I just have such a love and fascination for it. I actually spent some time in Arizona framing and doing some roofing, and I truly loved it. The only bad side is that in Arizona you're outside working in 112 degree weather, but if I remember correctly, the crew I was on, we would start work at 6 in the morning so that mid-afternoon you'd be done for the day. But again, I just loved it, and it's probably why I love structure building so much, because I get to combine my love of art and color theory with my love of construction and carpentry work. Okay, I made a quick drawing of the beam and posts for the backside, the edge here, and just have a regular piece of styrofoam. Put that down. And we've got some straight pins. Okay, I've got the first one built. Now I've got 6 more to build. Next, we're going to glue this in place. Well, I got in a hurry and I forgot to mark the top of where to glue those. Okay, let's see. Let's do it this way. I moved my trash can directly behind me. It used to be right, you can't see, but right to the right of me, right next to my knee over here. And it just didn't work good there. So I moved it so it's directly behind me. So if you see me reaching behind me, that's what I'm doing. I'm throwing stuff away. All right. I won't make you watch this because it's going to take me a little while to get all these glued in place. Well, I got so excited working on this that I worked all through the night and got a lot done, but didn't film it. I apologize, but let me go over it with you. You'll notice the signs. Now, I show how to do signs in almost every video that I have out. And it's basically taking, I use 150 grit sandpaper and sand the back of the sign while it's still on the full sheet. Then after it's really thin, then I cut it out and glue it on. And I just brush on white Elmer's glue on the back of it and then stick it on. Some of them I do add some rust, and you've seen me do that with a sponge and like bittersweet chocolate. And then I use some rust pigments and brush them on. Very basic. The corrugated metal. Now this is actually paper, and it's from kcworkshop.com. And I use a sponge, and I use rust colors from Ammo, and you can buy a set. You can buy these in a set that's just for rust. And then again, I use the rust pigments. Now, these panels, I have a box that I keep roofing material in, like corrugated metal, sheet metal, tar paper. So all of this that I used was already done and in my box. So all I had to do was glue everything on. The peaked roof, that area right in there, is from the bottom part, and I'm glad I saved that. Let me see. So I cut it off so it was, I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but So I cut that peak off, and then this part is the lower section, and then that peak I put up at the top. What else? Our doors. The doors are from both kits. I basically painted them with iced coffee, and then on the smaller doors I sponged on the green, and then took some pigments and added some dirt, and those pigments, same ones I used in every video, City Dark Dust and Farm Dark Earth. Okay, let's wrap this up. I think a couple things. I want to add railings around this. We're going to leave this section right here open, and we're going to put in a beam that has a pulley in case they need to raise something up from ground level to right here. And then we're going to, I think I'm going to put in like a steel plate to cover that hole, and then have a beam coming out with a pulley system. Okay, these railings are going to take a while, and it's going to be pretty tedious. I've taken a piece of paper and I marked the top rail and the bottom rail. Now I'm going to do that in this section and along here, and then we'll put in all the little posts in there. Now I could have built this flat, you know, like drew it on here, covered it with wax paper, and built the entire railing and then glued it in place. Maybe that would be an easier way to do it. I don't know. So far, this is working out okay. I'll cut a whole bunch of these short ones to length and then glue them in. Okay, this side's done. And I even put a small support under the center. Now I have this beam and we're going to run that beam right through here. So I just received these great detail parts from Foscale Models. And they're all 3D printed. And there's an instruction sheet showing you how to clean them up. Because when you 3D print, there's little supports that need to be printed. And those all need to be cut off and possibly do some filing just to clean them up. But they are so super detailed. I am so impressed. It's just incredible. Look at the little vise on there. Now I'll show you what I'm talking about with those supports. Okay, here. So I already cleaned this one up, but this one, you'll see there's two little supports underneath that drawer. And you just need to cut those off so that it's not there like on that one. can use little clippers and snip them off. And they break off really, really nice. And then you can just trim it a little bit with your knife, and it's all clean. Now you can see here there's many little supports. So that the detail parts need to be cut off of that. I'll give you another example. So here is a detailed soda machine. And you can see all the supports under it. Now with the solid one like this, you can see it just breaks right off there. Now if you want to file the back of it, it's ready to go. They're so much cleaner than the metal castings. I am just so impressed with these. So let's pick some out to go with our structure, and we'll glue them on. Well, first we'll prime them, paint them, then glue them on. So I've cleaned up about 4 castings that we're going to put a primer on and paint. Just want to show you the detail. It's so impressive. I think that it's making me want to take my modeling to another level. And this is just so detailed that I want to put even more detail in my models. Okay, I'll put a primer on these, and then we'll paint them up. I just finished painting the dust collector, and I could just spend hours painting these detail parts. It's incredible. You know, I put a primer on this. I then put a reddish brown, kind of did a wash with a lot of water, washed over it, blow dried that. Then with a sponge, I put on a dark brown. Then using a very fine #1 brush from Emo, I put on the kind of an orange color. And let me show you this. Oh, I then took some silver dry brush paint and went over it. I don't know how well that's showing up on camera. I really hope that you can see all of the detail that I put into it. Incredible. All right, let's while I've got this in my hand, we'll quick glue it in place. Now technically it should have a pipe underneath it going into the building or extending from that one, but no one's going to see underneath there. So on these castings, I'm just kind of experimenting and having fun. I'm taking this reddish brown and I just put a wash over this. I'm going to soak up some of that paint that's on the top. And we can do a little bit on the front. Okay. Now we'll blow dry this. Now we'll come in with some color. Okay, so I'm using Thicket, and then I'm going to add some sea glass to it to lighten it up. Now I'm not going solid, and I'm not going all the way to the bottom. Now this is going to take a lot of layers, at least to get the look that I'm wanting. So I just added a little bit more sea glass to lighten it. Now we'll take our bittersweet chocolate and my sponge, and I almost have a point because I'm going to do some fine detail dots on this. And this is going to be along the very bottom, in like the edges. You want to make sure that your dots are really, really tiny. Okay, now we're going to take our very fine #1 brush, get it a little bit wet. Now we're going to take the silver dry brush paint and work on the top. I'll zoom in so that you can see this better. Now keep in mind this is outside, so it's going to be pretty rusty. Okay, let me get into focus here. Okay, now I want my brush really dry, and I'm going to go full strength silver on the edge of the table. Okay, now we'll paint our parts on it. Okay, I've got all my colors on there. Now I'm going to mix, what is this, sand gray and silver. Okay, first we're going to go over the edge of the desk. Okay, then we're going to wipe most of it off of our brush, and we're going to do a little bit of dry brushing. All right, well, I think this project is finished. I'll give you a closer look down here on the bench, and then we'll take it over to the layout and see what it looks like in its new home. I am so excited about this area that I'm actually going to build a diorama that fits in this area. So I'll make the pattern of the diorama, and then we'll take it over to the bench, put the structures on it, and fully detail it. And I also have some new castings from rustyrail.com. They have a couple new vehicles that we can put in here. This is going to be very, very exciting. So again, the diorama will be kind of a triangle shape. So in the next episode, we'll work on that diorama over at the workbench, and then we'll just set it in place right there. And I can see a chain link fence maybe around the property. Ignore this curved line. The line actually goes right there. Wow, what an exciting build. I know, I completely got sidetracked, but I'm having so much fun working on this. And like I mentioned, in the next episode, we're going to be doing scenery work in this area. So that's going to be very exciting. And then we'll get back to our scheduled plan for the next 3 weeks. All right, well, thank you all so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. And until next time, stay motivated and happy modeling, everyone.